Vern Kyle here. In front of me you see a view of rolled mono curb. Now today I want to talk about how we prepare for this curb. On this street we've got rolled mono on both sides, and there's a bit of preparation before they pour this concrete, and that's what today's topic is. Okay, the first step is to cut the top of the berm to grade, or actually 2 centimeters above grade, because the Gomaco is going to come and trim it later. The string line is set, and the grade crew has painted numbers on this curb for me to follow. You're doing this, I'm on the cut of 3 there right now. As you're doing this, you've got to kind of guess the 2%. This berm needs to be 2% toward the road, toward the street. And right now I'm on a 5. And there's a cut of 3. So you just gotta kind of get practiced up at guessing 2% by looking across your blade, because you can't really use your slope meter, because you see one wheel is down in the gutter, one wheel is up on top of the berm, so it'd be senseless to look at your slope meter. Well, right now my slope meter is saying 8%. And so it's useless to look at your slope meter, because you go one wheel up and one wheel down. I actually prefer it that way. Sometimes what happens is you have to adjust quickly, because you got your one wheel, like it's going to happen right now. See, my one wheel will come up onto the gravel, so you got to kind of account for that. So cutting these berms is a little bit tricky in that regard, because you get a situation, and it happens all the time. You get a situation where you got both wheels up, or just one wheel up. You see, right now, I just want to walk out and show you this. I'm going to put the camera up again, up to normal position. And I just show you this. Like right now, I'm in a situation where my slope meter is saying 8%, because one wheel is up on the berm and one wheel is down in the gutter. But sometimes as you're cutting, you'll get fill out on the other wheel. You see, it'll start to fill the gutter, and so you got to correct for that all the time. It's a little tricky, but you got to consider that all the time, that sometimes your wheel will be running, you'll only have one wheel up. I refer to it as having one wheel up on the berm and one wheel down, but sometimes it'll change to both wheels up on the berm. So you got to account for that all the time when you're guessing this 2%. Now I got right in front of my front wheel there, I have a little fill of 2, and I'm going to put it in. I'm going to show you how I put a little fill in. I'll show you how I put a little fill on these berms if you need to. This is how I do it. I'll put the camera back down again and put it on my head. So there's just a little fill of 2, and I'm just going to show you how I do it. I cut along, and don't forget the wick drain is down there, so you got to make sure you don't hit the wick drain. But I come along and I just narrow up this berm a little bit and put a windrow up there. You see how it's doing? I just narrow that up a little bit and put a little windrow up there like that. There's the fill of 2 right there. Then I come in here and I just backblade that windrow into position. I just do it like this. I just backblade that. I just take my backblade, turn my blade out like this, and I back across that windrow. And I'll just pull it into position with a backblade. That seems to work the best for me. There's actually the fill of 2 right there. I'll put a little bit of gravel on it, and I'm just backblading it in. And there. Now I'll go cutting along there and fill that 2 in. So that's how I put fills on top of these berms. It's the neat fills that they quite often do, because you know when you're roughing these ends, you're building that berm before you put the string on, and you know you don't get too crazy, you don't get too accurate about it. So the odd time you're going to run into a fill on top of the berm, and it's not hard to fix because you're going to pack it anyway. You're going to water it and pack it anyway. So it's no big deal if there's a little bit of a fill on top of the berm. You just repair it, and that's how I do it. If I do it again, I'll show you later again how I do it. Shit, I've even put fills of a deck 10 up there if I have to. It's no big deal. There you go. A little fill is in there. I'm trying to hold my 2%. Well, I'm trying to guess 2%. And now I'm cutting a 2. There's a cut of a 2, because you see, I'm looking at the numbers on top of this berm. I'm coming up to a cut of 6. There's a cut of 2. I'm coming up to a cut of 6. There it is. And ahead of me, there's a cut of 5. There's a 2. And a 1. Again, we're holding on 2%. Another 2. And a 1. And a 1. There. Oh, it's coming up to a 3. Holding on 2%. There's a 2. We're going up to another 2. And a 1. Coming up to a gray. There's another 2. We got a valve in our way here in one spot. There's a cut of 1. Yeah, we got a 6-inch valve in our way, you see right there? I gotta go around that thing. They couldn't lower it. So there it is. Sitting on grade. Sitting in our way. There we go. Well, just a reminder, when you're cutting around these bubbles or dog legs or whatever you want to call them, be careful that your ripper doesn't hit. See, I'm going to show something here in my mirror. When I look in my mirror right now, and I'm hoping you can see that, but when I look in my mirror right now, my ripper is only, maybe 100, it's only like 100 millimeters away from that string. So you have to be careful, especially when you articulate straight. Like right now I'm fully articulated, but when you straighten out, you've got to be careful with these graders that you don't touch that string when you straighten out, because right now your ripper is very close to it. So be careful of that. You might want to get somebody to spot you when you're doing that, because if you clip the string, well, they're going to have to come and reset it. So that's just a reminder to be careful with that. Sometimes when you're cutting around the bubble and it's a heavy cut, it'll kind of pull you into the string a little bit. So you have to be careful with that. Now we're coming up to a high point here. We're coming up to grade. I'm articulating straight right now, and I'm watching in my mirror that my ripper doesn't touch that string. It's coming very close to it. Now Rob and Petro are out in front of me here, just giving me some grades. They're putting some more numbers on. There they are, right there. Now the top of the berm is to grade, or I should say it's approximately too high, and it's approximately 2%, and we've watered it, and now Symphony is packing it. Now the next step here is to cut the notch. These guys have drawn a line on the top of the berm, and I'm going to cut it out. Now, this particular notch line is, the finish grade on it is 125 millimeters. So I'm going to try to guess it at about 100, just to make sure I don't get too low on it, you know. Because once I cut this out, we definitely will check this gutter, because that'll be the gutter grade, of course. We've already graded the top of the berm, and now we'll just grade the gutter. We're basically prepping for the Gomaco here. Now I know that the finish grade on this gutter is 125 millimeters lower than the top of the berm. So as I'm cutting the notch here, I'm trying to guess it at about 100 millimeters, because ideally I don't want there to be any fills in this gutter when I go to check it. Ideally it would be good if there was just small cuts in the gutter.
Your little love note on the berm over there?
Yeah, I see that. And now we're just, Rob is just doing numbers for the gutter. So we'll cut this gutter out, we'll water it and pack it, and we will, then the Gomaco is going to come in here and just trim it, you see. We are measuring it for too high. We're trying to do everything too high here, just so that the Gomaco's got a little bit to trim.
One high in the gutter.
One high in the gutter. So Braden is just setting up here. See, these are the berms that we were pre-trimming. He's just setting up the Gomaco and making sure he's setting in properly. You definitely want to be using hearing protection if you're getting up close to these Gomacos. I'm always interested to see how much gravel they're generating as he's trimming on the berm, because that tells me if we did our job properly or not. Right now it looks like he's trimming about 2 centimeters. You see, right now this machine is in trimming mode, but it can also be configured to be in concrete pouring mode. You take the trimming head off and put the concrete form on, which they'll do later. Well, they'll probably actually haul in a different Gomaco with the concrete form on it, and they'll come behind and use it to pour the concrete. Well, the amount of gravel that the trimming head is generating as it trims looks about normal, so that's a good thing. Here's a look at how the Gomaco is linked to the string line. These fingers are guiding the Gomaco both up and down and side to side. And here I see the other Gomacos coming in. Well, you know that windrow gravel that the Gomaco was generating as he was trimming? Well, now we need to take that windrow away. Just take it out and feather it out into the center of the street. And I usually do that in 2 steps. I'll make a pre-cut and take the majority of it off like I'm doing right now. And then I will do a final cut on it and take it right down to the gutter grade and clean it right out. Seems to work best if you do it in 2 passes. I'll show you, I'll tilt the camera up in a little while and I'll show you exactly what I'm doing in the next pass. There's a little windrow that I took away from there. Now I'm gonna actually cut it away right at the gutter. And this is where you just got to be a little bit careful not to alter that gutter grade. Get more or less level. And just, I usually articulate in a little bit. And just hold that gutter grade. If you touch it with your grater blade, you can see it if you touch it. So you just kind of graze it. And if you start touching it, you can see it. So just kind of graze it. And that's how you do it. And then it's basically ready after they pack it, water it and pack it. It's ready for concrete, ready for the rolled mono. Like I say, if you start to touch it, you can see it. You can see that you're cutting on it, and you wanna hold that gutter grade. The Gomaco trimmed it for a reason. He trimmed it on grade, you see, and that is essentially the bottom of your curb. So that's the bottom of your concrete. You see, that's why it's important to hold that grade and not to alter it. Okay, here's the before and after shot of these berms. Here's the berm before we trimmed it. That's what it looks like. You can see there's a cut of 4 and a cut of 3 on there. And basically there's no contour for the mono. And here's the after shot. Now this is basically ready for concrete. There's a high point stake. And you can see the contour of the mono is right there. Here comes Symphony with the combi, and you see she's packing the top of the berm after it's been trimmed. And she's got to be careful she doesn't touch the string. She's probably going to be getting pretty close to it. And there's still one area that needs to get packed, and that's the rolled contour of the curb. And in the next clip, I'm going to show Petro doing that with the plate tamper. Well, here's an example of using the plate tamper to pack the face of the rolled mono berm. Thank you for staying to the end of this video. Please subscribe, like, and comment. I'll see you next time. Petro's going to give us a thumbs up here, and that's always a good thing.